So we're really excited to be here today. One of the wonderful testaments to someone's leadership in a role like Matt Miller has is the people he brings on his staff, the people he retains on his staff. I can't speak highly enough how wonderful the people are we work with every day from the Mentor schools. Matt does a tremendous job leading this facility and the school district. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of exciting initiatives that he has been the champion of, and we're really excited again to have him here in January to present our State of the Schools address. So please join me in welcoming Superintendent Matt Miller.
Thank you, Al. Thanks for everybody for being here. What a great turnout. We are honored and pleased to be hosting you at Paradigm and glad that you get to witness one of our largest events that we've had so far. A couple things I want to do before I get started. I certainly want to acknowledge our Board of Education members that are here in attendance today, our Board President Sally Miller, Board Member Tom Tuttle, and Board Member Mary Briner. One of the things you're going to notice if you haven't been to a State of the School speech is I start to roam and wonder. There is no podium that has held me yet. This one won't either, so don't be too alarmed if I'm coming by and talking about a few things. But a lot of what we're talking about is up on the screen that you're going to see in just a little bit. I do want to thank our City of Mentor folks for being here. I don't want to start naming names because I'll forget somebody, so I apologize in advance. And I know Kevin Malachek is here as well, and a couple other representatives. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of our presentation today. I want to start off with one of the biggest things is our straight A grant here in Mentor. You are in a building, Paradigm, probably a lot of you for the very first time, in a building that was written as part of a grant called a straight A grant. The grant brought in $13.8 million between Mentor schools and Kirtland schools. Mentor schools received $12 million and Kirtland received $1.8. The building you're sitting in didn't cost us a thing. Didn't cost us a thing. It was all part of the grant. So the grant paid for this professional development facility. I wish I could show you the other side because we have a student PD center on the other side. It didn't cost us a thing, but you're seeing some pictures up here. The grant also paid for what's called the Hub, which is our library, what used to be the Upper and Lower Learning Center at the high school. It paid for devices for our kids. It paid for professional development for our teaching staff. And it also is paying for courses for our kids that we couldn't offer unless we went to an online platform. And we're still going through that process with our teaching staff. Before I get too far down the path, I want to acknowledge our members from MTA because they are responsible for hosting, once again, the State of the School speech. And they do a tremendous job for our kids. And our kids wouldn't have the opportunities that they have without our teaching staff. So I appreciate MTA very much for that. So everything that you see here was part of the grant and a lot at the high school, but grants are very specific. So it had to be just 912, it had to be innovative, it had to be sustainable and cost saving. So we're glad that it's here at Mentor versus somewhere else in the state. But one of the other things that I want to acknowledge, just so you know you're getting a scoop, is that we just found out this morning, not a lot of people know this, but Mentor Schools is also going to receive a second straight A grant from the state of Ohio. So we're very excited about that, and details of that will be coming out in the coming weeks. Not as big as Paradigm. It's a straight A grant that's going to focus on professional development for our middle school teachers. So we're very excited about that. A lot of what we're doing now in Mentor is what a lot of people describe as blended learning or innovative. We're almost getting away from blended learning now. We're looking at blended learning has a definition, really good instruction infused with technology, period. But we're looking at it now in terms of balancing learning. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. One of the best things about my day when we do State of the Schools isn't just speaking to all of you, even though that is a highlight, don't get me wrong. But one of the things I like doing is having students be a part of this presentation. And I'm going to start, our first student that's going to speak for just a few minutes is junior Lexi Mealy. Lexi?
Thank you, Mr. Miller. So Mr. Miller started to talk about what blended learning was and how we define blended learning. So today in my speech, I hope to address some of the misconceptions people have about blended learning. People see it as simply online learning. Some people think that students simply watch videos all day, or that teachers use technology as a reason not to teach. I am here to explain to you that the students of Mentor High School don't see it this way. Blended learning has opened innumerable doors for us as students. And when teachers reference blended learning, they truly mean a collaborative experience between the traditional classroom and online activities. My most personal experience with this came about a month ago, when my AP Literature teacher, Ms. Richards, established a 13-day blended learning unit to discuss a novel called The Kite Runner. This allowed students to explore the novel in the way that they saw fit, using individual activities, group activities, and work directly with her. We did do some online activities. One of each was answering analysis questions about the socio-political effects of the novel. We had traditional classroom discussions, but blended learning allowed us to go beyond this. Most specifically, having a kite fighting tournament with over 20 students on a December Saturday morning in order to better understand one of the motifs of the novel. At the end of the unit, there was consensus. Blended learning drastically increased our comprehension. Another benefit of blended learning is the creation of the blended class. What the blended class is students attend class 2 days a week and do online assignments the other 3 days. This promotes the independent study skills that we're going to need when we go to college, while also providing the classroom experience that high school students really need. One of these classes that I'm involved in is AP Government, and in the blended time I have been able to establish a statewide political organization, all thanks to blended learning. Essentially, blended learning has provided one thing, and that is limitless opportunities. Because of blended learning, Mentor High School students are more prepared to go out to college and into the workforce in a rapidly changing world. And on behalf of the student body of Mentor High School, I can say that we are truly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another point I need to make just to follow up with what Lexi said is I can't tell you the amount of time that our teaching staff has put into this change. Sometimes schools, especially K-12 environments, are the last things to change, and we are really moving forward, and our staff has a lot to do with where we're at. One of the best things recently that we've done is we started down the path of developing a new strategic vision and mission, and you have at your place, or that was on your seat just a little when you first came in, the outline of that work. We had many of you that are in this room right now that were a part of this process. So we're looking at developing as a community, not just a school, but as a community, where we go for the next 3 to 5 years. We had about 50 to 55 people as part of this process weigh in and talk to us about what are you proud of about Mentor Schools, what are some things that we need to work on, and what should be the course that we set for the next 3 to 5 years. You have that document in front of you. That was phase 1. If you're interested in who was part of that process, they're on the last 2 pages. There's a list, and a lot of you in this room were a part of that, and I can't thank you enough for that. So phase 1, we had 4 goals outlined by the group. So it was not a lot of school people involved. Dan Wilson, our CFO, who I'll talk about in a second, and Kristen Kirby. We had Cindy Langolier, who's our MTA president, who you met just a little while ago. She was there, and representatives from MCE as well talk about that course. And so when you look at the document, when you take some time and look at where we need to go, one of the things comes clear, and it came out in the conversation to me very clearly. First of all, our community is very supportive of our school district, very supportive of our staff. And that doesn't happen everywhere. I know we were making fun of not being in Mentor, but Mentor is a special place. If you've lived somewhere else and you came to Mentor like I did, you get that a lot, and you really feel it and understand it. And I know a lot of you that are in the same boat know what I'm talking about. So that was key to us. The other piece that we looked at is People are very impressed with what we're doing with technology and innovation, but the balance side of that is we need to work a little bit more on soft skills, with students interviewing, with getting lined up for a college career or military, and we're going to talk about all of those as part of the conversation today. But I can't thank our community members enough for their input, their thought. I mean, we met at 7:30 a.m. For about an hour and a half, 4 times. That's a commitment, and most of the people were there the whole time, and if they couldn't, you know, they apologized and certainly got caught up. But I really appreciate those of you that are a part of this as a sounding board for the school district. So this was phase 1. Phase 2 is we're going to take it to our staff now and have representatives from all of our school buildings help us build phase 2. So we can use this as an outline, we can finalize it together, and then present to our Board of Education for adoption in several months what our new strategic mission and vision is. So that's one of the highlights I wanted to mention to you. But thank you for your work on that. As a school system, we always take a look at enrollment. We are, it's interesting about Mentor. We are an aging community, and a lot of you know that, and real estate agents will tell you that too. We really like it here. We buy homes, we stay in our homes, we don't downsize, right? And so enrollment is dropping, but that's why. I mean, we have clamoring from other communities around us that want to get into Mentor and get into Mentor schools. I have this graph up here just so you can see a little bit about the enrollment trend. As you notice, our current 12th graders, we're just sitting at almost 700, and our current kindergarten students, we're at 500. And so that's a trend that we're still seeing, but enrollment overall is starting to flatline, and hopefully we will in just a few years. One of the coolest things that I like talking about lately is some of what we're doing with career tech. So I'm a firm believer, and we're talking more and more about this as Mentor Public Schools, is our kids need to go to college, they need a job, or they need to go military once they come across that diploma and shake Mr. Wade's hand on graduation day. They need to have something lined up. One of the things that we did through Career Tech is we bought a house. Yep, we bought a house in Mentor, and our Career Tech kids at the Lakeshore Compact are flipping it. And then we're going to sell it. And then we're going to take the proceeds of the money from that house, and we're going to buy another one next year, and we're going to flip that one, so that our kids have real hands-on experience. And I'm very excited about this, about the kids that are involved in this project. We also have a class at the high school that is filming what the kids are doing. So we're going to have like sort of our own version of HGTV coming up. Yeah, but it is really neat. But one of the students is going to talk a little bit about the process and where he's at now, and that's Matt. Matt? I'm awful with names. This is Matt Pelosi, and Matt's one of the students working on the house, and his fellow classmates are here, and the teacher are up here too, so when we're finished, if you want to ask them any questions, I'm sure they'll be glad to take it. But Matt's going to talk a little bit about this project.
Thank you. So right now we are flipping a house, like you said, in Mentor, and you know, I started out as like not really liking school, freshman year. My junior year, I figured out that I could get into a program and try to better my education, and I found something that I really liked, and got a great teacher, Mr. Stewart, and we really hit it off, and we tried to better the community and tried to get this house as much as we could. We really looked forward to it and tried to get there, and Mr. Miller helped us. Last year, it's a 2-year program, we had to train a lot, get ready to use the machines, everything like that, and it was just, it's been a good experience.
Matt, where are you at now in the process of the house? What are you guys working on?
I'd say we're about halfway. We just ran electrical throughout the whole entire house. We also did the Succeed building behind the school, 600 square feet of tile, 22 sheets of drywall, a lot of work, a lot of stuff that some people don't see, but you know.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Matt. Well said. And Charlie's their teacher. They'll be glad to answer any questions when we're finished with the presentation. But you think these kids are going to get jobs when they're done? Heck yeah. I want to mention too that we are doing a distance learning class in conjunction with Lakeland, and it's Calculus 3. So the teacher is not even on our facility, the teacher is actually in Perry, so we're working with Perry Schools, one of our other partners, and this class goes on remotely from Perry in conjunction with Lakeland. So this is one of the other innovative things that we're doing at Mentor Schools. One of the other projects that we're doing that is different, that is new, is we have a new AP Capstone Diploma and program, and I'm going to turn it over to sophomore Jack Lynch. Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Hello everyone, like Mr. Miller said, my name is Jack Lynch and I am a sophomore here at Mentor High School. This year I enrolled in a new course called AP Seminar, which will replace my English class. AP Seminar is a course that helps students view issues through different perspectives and lenses to help them attain a deeper understanding of how to look at current events that are going on in today's world. AP Seminar really focuses on students working with each other and improving their writing skills and how to work collaboratively with others. AP Seminar, AP Research, and other AP courses that are offered in today's high school really will help prepare students for life after high school once they move on to whether that be a job or going to college. AP Seminar, AP Research, and 4 other AP classes are required to receive the AP Capstone Diploma. And at the end of each AP class, a student will take an AP test and they need to receive a 3 or higher. And after they do so, they will receive the AP Capstone Diploma. I have chosen to pursue the AP Capstone Diploma because I am a college-bound student and I understand that the skills that are focused on in these courses will really help prepare me for any college major that I choose or any job that I want to pursue. And my classmates and I also agree, and we feel that the things that are focused on will really best prepare us for that. Next year, there was my name tag. Next year, AP Research will involve students making connections with our community, with businesses such as the ones that are all presented here today. And my classmates and I are looking forward to being able to make connections with you all and hopefully really push us towards working with others. And just like life after college, when you graduate from college and you go to look for a job, it prepares us for certain conditions that we might sorry, I just kind of lost my train of thought. Once you graduate from college and you go to pursue a job, and there's a certain word that I'm looking for and I can't find it. I apologize. Encounter, thank you. When you encounter a certain conflict, when you encounter that problem, we will be well prepared as we have spent all this time preparing for it in the classroom and working with you all. My classmates and I are very appreciative of the teacher that we have, Mrs. Coleman, and she's put in a lot of hard work into the lesson plans and preparing us for college or any job afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jack hit on something that I think is really important that we've tried to do more and more as a school district in our community, and that's to keep connected with what's going on not only in Mentor, but also in our state and nationally. For example, Mentor Schools, we were proud to host a National School Board Association site visit that with our school board this past year that we worked with the city and also the Garfield House on. We were one of 2 cities in the country that were able to host one of these site visits. Another thing that we take a lot of pride in what we're doing is we're working with other schools. You saw a slide a couple slides ago of us working with Perry schools and also Lakeland, but we're also networking with other schools like Mentor that are sort of forward-thinking and innovative. We have something called the CAL project that a couple of our classes and teachers are working on. CAL stands for California, Ohio, Wisconsin. And two classes, at Ridge are working with 2 classes in Wisconsin and 2 classes in California, all working on the same class together, but just from a different perspective from their respective regions. So the kids get to do things like Google Hangout together. They get 6 teachers instead of just 2, but it's one of the, I think, things that we're trying to do to keep us innovative. Speaking of innovative, we're also part of League of Innovative Schools, which is one of 57, or we're one of 57 school districts across the country that are working on different problems for our kids, not just technology, but it is a lot of technology based. But we do talk a lot with teachers and other superintendents and administrators as we look at keeping our kids connected as they go through the K-12 system. One of my favorite groups of people to work with or talk to are our school safety people, but also our police and fire departments. They have been huge in keeping our schools and our buildings safe for our kids. Every year we have a different type of initiative, and a lot of times I'll start talking about security first, because if our kids can't be safe at school, nothing else really matters. But our staff has done a really good job. We started something this year called Alice Training, which is for an active shooter. I'm hoping that you've heard something about it, whether it was at Mentor or maybe in your own workplace. But a lot of times when we were growing up, when the kids were growing up and they were much younger, a lot of times you would go into lockdown and you stay put. And sometimes that's not always the best option. Occasionally it is, but sometimes it's good just to get out. And that's one of the things that Alice taught us. We also now have all of our barricade devices fully deployed in all of our buildings. But I want to thank the fire department and the police department for their work, because they're always networking with us and communicating with us about what's going on daily with our students' lives, also our staff's lives, and we have a very good partnership, so I thank them for that. Another thing that we do that I think sets us apart is something called Rachel's Challenge. Rachel's Challenge is an anti-bullying program that was set up a few years ago. Rachel Scott, who it's named for, was the first casualty at the Columbine shootings back in '99 at Columbine High School. And we have a program now that was set by Rachel's uncle. Rachel's uncle started Rachel's Challenge. And so we bring them in every year through different programs through their middle schools and our high schools, and it's on a rotation basis. But it's one of those things that help our kids tap into maybe some of their social needs, emotional needs. So it's not always about academics. We're trying to cover the full gamut. This was one of the things too that came out of the community engagement group. That I think people realize we need to do some more things with, especially in the mental health arena. So we have some things in the works for that coming up as well. At your seat, when you came down and enjoyed lunch today, you should have received a quality profile report, which looks like this. And the quality profile report, this is our second annual quality profile report. There's also an online version. If you go to our website, mentorschools.net, you can find it there. The quality profile is a complement as a community to the state's local report card. So the state of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education, puts out a dashboard and ranks and rates schools A to F based on a few tests. And there's some glitches in that system. It's not perfect. None of us are. But we thought we would give a full complement of what our community values. So we did an online survey to our community and got feedback, and staff as well, and got feedback and built the quality profile. So what do we as a community value? And this is our second year and we're fine-tuning it, but we wanted to give you that as a piece, communication piece to our district. Comprehensive literacy is also something that we have worked very, very hard in the district. The state of Ohio, maybe you've heard about the 3rd grade reading guarantee, that all students K-3 have to be on reading level, and if not, you have to send them a letter, send the parents a letter talking about what you're doing to remediate their reading level. And to date, after just a couple of years, we've only had to retain one student in Mentor schools. And so that student had a specific situation, something different than what most students go through. So it was the right decision for him. I'm not a huge proponent on retention at all, but for that student it was certainly necessary. But we were already doing the things that the state asked us to do already, but they just sort of put it into law. But our teachers were already doing the reinforcement and remediation for our kids, so we certainly have that going for us. One of the things Mr. Wade brought to my attention early on when I came to Mentor is our students that take the PSAT test. We have made some revisions for our kids and it's already starting to pay dividends. All of our students in 8th and 9th grade now take the PSAT as part of the SAT series. This helps them for test prep. It helps them with getting their ACT scores up. It helps them get into colleges too. And then also all Mentor High School 10th and 11th grade students take PSAT during school time. Wasn't like that before. And the district is putting the money in for our kids to take these tests because we see the value in it. And we see the value in it because our national merit students have skyrocketed. Before we would just have maybe 2, 3, 4, a handful of students. Now you can see all the semifinalists listed and all the commended students that are listed here. So we believe that the PSAT has certainly helped increase our numbers in this group with these students, and what a tremendous accomplishment that is for them as they continue on their careers once they leave Mentor High School. How many of you in this room got a perfect ACT? How many of you in this room got a perfect ACT? Logan, Leek, and Vishnu Nastala, stand up. Congratulations to Logan and Vishnu for their perfect ACT scores. It's a 36 for those of you that don't know what a perfect score is. I had to double check really quick. But very proud of those two young men for getting a perfect ACT. Congratulations. We try to do a lot too to talk about our kids and celebrate our kids. One of my favorite board meetings is the January board meetings. We have school board recognition, but we have a lot of kids that come through that we get to acknowledge on a daily basis. And so we're very proud of what our kids do at Science Olympiad. We've been doing more with robotics in the past couple of years as well. You can see our Fighting Cardinal Marching Band has evolved, but the M is still there, which is pretty cool that Kristen just put together. But we have a lot of things going on with our kids going to mock trial. We have Science Olympiad going on right now, but there's just a whole host of activities that we're able to provide for our kids that I can't thank our staff and our community for supporting enough. One of the other really cool things that we just started a little over 3 years ago is we do something called a military commitment ceremony. Sometimes when a school district has students that we celebrate, it's because they're in athletics, and we'll have an athletic signing day for, a football player or a baseball player, sorry Coach Triff, different things like that for our kids. We thought it was just as important to have, or more important actually, to have a signing ceremony for our young men and women who are going to go into the military. So we started a military signing day for our students. These are 5 students who last year participated in our military signing day in the spring. You'll notice one's in uniform. She graduated early to go to the Marine Corps, so she couldn't be there that day. She was at boot camp of her senior year and missed graduation because it was that important to her. And then you see the 4 young men that were part of the ceremony. When we decided to do a military signing day, we got some of our local heroes involved in the process who were very instrumental in talking to us about what that would look like, who would be invited, the branches that would come. They talked to us about protocol and the whole 9 yards, and we could not have done it without them. And two of the gentlemen are here now, and I want to acknowledge them, and that is Doug Coleman. Doug, could you stand up? And Bob Zonneville. Bob, could you stand up? So, as part of this process, they were with another gentleman, Bud Sprague. And a lot of you know Bud, and Bud sadly just passed away just a couple of weeks ago, actually probably 10 days ago. And so, in honor of these three gentlemen, we're going to name it the Coleman Sprague Zonneville Military Commitment Ceremony.
Mr. Miller and Mr. Wade, thank you for this honor, but more importantly, thank you for providing the Mentor High students with the recognition that they deserve in signing up for the military. Patriotism is an old word. Actually, it goes back about 240 years this year to 1776. And so the students from Mentor High that signed up continue that long heritage. Thank you very much.
I guess I feel kind of out of place in this room. We have the future up here, and most of you are the present and the future, and I'm from the past. I was really honored to serve on this committee because I think too often we all forget that less than 1% of our young people are the ones that defend our country day in and day out. In other words, over 99% of us are protected by such a small group. As Winston Churchill said during World War II, so much is owed to so many by so few. My last thing was maybe not relative to this service you're having here today, but I am extremely high on the future of our country because of our young people. At the ripe old age of 85, I decided to go back to school and graduate from Lakeland. It took me 3 years. I didn't graduate until I was 88, 3 years ago, because these kids are brighter, they do it too. And I was so impressed. I think so often people my generation always like to think that the next generation isn't as good. A guy wrote a book, Tom Brokaw, called The Greatest Generation. And when you're a part of it, it's certainly fun to read it. But the truth is that every generation I've seen since then has been great. And I think the one we got today is greater than any we've ever had. I could never have made it through Lakeland without the help of the young people. My first class was a computer class, and the teacher got up and said, "How many of you got a smartphone, or how many are on Facebook," and so forth. And she turned and she said, "Robert, you never raised your hand." And I said, "I started out at a one-room schoolhouse where every road was a separate grade, and there wasn't even electricity, and there was not even a word computer. Had it not been for these kids, I'd still be there." So I want to tell you, I think our country is in wonderful shape, and when I heard Matt here today, and I saw all these students here, what they're doing, I'm very proud of our younger generation. And I'm thank you for listening to probably the oldest man in the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. And Bud Sprague's wife was going to join us today and couldn't make it because she had some other commitments, but we're very proud to change the name to these three gentlemen. Okay. I am pleased to announce today that Mentor Public Schools has just received its 6th Perfect Audit by the Ohio Department of Education and by the Auditor of State, Dave Yost. 6th Perfect Audit. Congratulations to Mr. Wilson. Stand and wave, Dan. Wave a little bit. Wave. Okay, thank you. Want to thank him and his staff. I don't know of another school that has 6. Dan thinks there might be out there historically. I have not seen it. Mentor is the 3rd school district I've worked in, and we never had a repeat. Never 2 years. We hardly ever had 1 perfect audit, but to get 6 in a row is a testament to Dan, to the Board of Education, and to their office. So we're very proud of that. Just found that out a couple weeks ago. We officially announced it at the January board meeting, but Dan, congratulations on that. I do want to mention, I just have a few more minutes, that on March 15th we have a levy, and this came out of the community engagement meeting as well. We have not asked for new funds. Mr. Sandin's leaving because I'm asking about money. We have not asked for new dollars in 12 years. I don't know of another school system, again, in Ohio that's not asked for an increase from their community in that long of time. Usually school districts are in a 3 to 4 year cycle. That's if they pass levies. But we are at the point now in Mentor that we have to ask for new funding. So it's a 4.9 mil levy. It protects and maintains everything that you saw today, everything that you didn't see. I could talk for 6 hours. I know you don't want me to, but I could talk for about 6 hours about what our kids are doing K-12. You heard a lot about the high school today, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. Also, I could have another session to talk about and acknowledge our staff and the things that they do day in and day out, the teaching staff, the administrative team, day in and day out for our kids. So we have tightened the belt as much as we can. We have closed 4 buildings, which is not an easy thing to do in respect of the finances, but also because of the enrollment. And we continue to do all of this with state funding cuts, which I know a lot of you are going through yourself. So when you hear about the levy, I hope that you'll speak positively about Mentor schools, and that if you need more information, we're certainly going to get that out, because we are now in a sprint and not a marathon, to get out information about continuing and maintaining the district that we have. It's issue 3 on the ballot. I will like to introduce really quick, we have 2 co-chairs for this levy campaign. One is right here to my left, Sarah Carver, who many of you probably know, I hope. Sarah was the secretary at the high school for a couple years. She is one of our co-chairs, but also Gwen Corbin, who's been a chair and a leader in our community as well, and she couldn't be here today. But those 2 are spearheading our levy campaign, and we are glad that they're a part of this initiative. We have a couple levy events coming up. The first one would be on February 6th, which is a Saturday. It's a spaghetti dinner, and it's going to be at the high school. We will be selling tickets for that. It's a donation for the levy campaign. It's a Saturday night, February 6th at the high school. When you're finished, you have 2 events that are free afterwards you can go to. You can go to the Mentor High School basketball game, or you can go to the Top 25 concert. So you have events to do afterwards. I'm pressed for time, but questions, comments, concerns? I have impeccable wait time. Anybody? I know it's been a long day. I know you've been with me for a little while. I want to mention too, I want to thank Al for hosting, for the kind words that you said, for wearing Mentor colors. Today you look really good. You almost sounded as good as the guy before you that used to do this, but I do appreciate the chamber for doing this. I want to give a
next year for this school. Mark your calendar, January 20-something, 2017.
I withdraw my question. But anyway, real quick, I again want to thank you for being here. I want to thank my team for getting this together. I know you have to get back to work, but if you have questions or you want to follow up, our students are up here at the front and on the side as well. So if you have any questions or you want to talk to them about anything they said, about anything that they're doing, please do so. I'm sure the board would entertain some questions too, as well as Mr. Wilson. Thanks, Al.
Thank you. Great job.